the necessary breaking. There is a stage in every transformation that nobody talks about. The breaking, not the blessing, not the celebration. The breaking, it's the moment when life starts falling apart. Right before it comes together, doors close, plans collapse, people leave, and suddenly you find yourself asking a painful question. Why is everything breaking? You prayed for progress, but instead, you got pressure. You prayed for elevation, but instead, you got isolation. You prayed for blessings, but what you received first was breaking, and breaking hurts, because it doesn't look like progress. It looks like loss. It feels like failure. It feels like the ground beneath your feet is slowly disappearing. But what if I told you something powerful? Sometimes the breaking is not destruction. It is preparation. Look at a seed. Before it becomes a tree, it must break open. If the seed never breaks, the tree never grows. Breaking is the moment where potential escapes the shell. The shell was never the problem. The shell was protection. But protection eventually becomes limitation, and God will never allow your protection to become your prison. So he breaks the shell, not to destroy you, but to release you, you see. We ask God for bigger blessings, but we forget something important. Bigger blessings require bigger capacity, and capacity is built through pressure. Pressure reveals weakness. Pressure exposes pride. Pressure removes illusions. Everything that cannot survive the next level must break now, not later. Now. That's why the breaking season feels so intense, because it touches everything. Your comfort, your plans, your relationships, even your identity. The person you used to be cannot survive where you are going, so the old version of you must fall apart, and that process is uncomfortable, because growth always disrupts familiarity. You were used to control. Now you must learn surrender. You were used to certainty. Now you must learn trust. You were used to stability. Now you must learn faith. Faith grows strongest in broken places, because when everything else disappears, faith becomes your only foundation. Right now you may feel like things are collapsing, but look closer. Are they collapsing, or are they being cleared? Sometimes God removes what you thought you needed, so you can discover what you truly need. Sometimes he breaks your plans, so his purpose can finally breathe. Sometimes he shakes your world, because you built parts of your life on things that were never meant to last. Breaking is not punishment. It is purification. Gold becomes pure through fire. Diamonds form under pressure, and strong souls are built through breaking. The question is not, why is this happening to me? The better question is, what is this preparing me for? Because every breaking season has a hidden destination, and that destination is growth. You are not falling apart, you are being rebuilt, stronger, wiser, deeper. And when the rebuilding is complete, you will carry blessings that the old version of you could never sustain. So if life feels like it's breaking right now, take a deep breath. Breaking is not the end. It is the beginning of transformation. When God breaks your ego, there is something inside every human being that resists transformation. Ego. Ego is quiet. It doesn't always look like arrogance. Sometimes ego looks like control. Sometimes ego looks like independence. Sometimes ego even disguises itself as strength. But ego has one weakness. It refuses to surrender. And surrender is the gateway to real growth. You see, before God elevates someone, he often dismantles the ego first. because ego cannot carry divine responsibility. Ego seeks attention. Purpose seeks impact. Ego wants recognition. Purpose wants transformation. Ego asks, "How will this make me look?" Purpose asks, "How will this change lives?" And until that shift happens inside you, elevation becomes dangerous. Imagine placing a crown on someone who still needs validation. The crown becomes heavy. Power without humility always collapses. That's why God sometimes allows situations that humble us, not to embarrass us, but to refine us. You may lose something you once relied on, a position, a relationship, a reputation, something that once defined your identity. And suddenly you feel smaller, invisible, less important. But what's actually happening is deeper than you think. Your identity is being reset. Because if your identity depends on titles, approval, or status, then the moment those things disappear, you collapse. True strength comes when your identity cannot be shaken, when you know who you are, even when nobody applauds, when you stand firm, even when recognition fades, when you continue forward, even when nobody notices. That is the power of humility. Humility is not weakness. Humility is clarity. It is the understanding that your value does not come from the world's applause. It comes from your purpose. But purpose only grows when ego steps aside. Sometimes the breaking season is simply God removing the illusions you built around yourself. Illusions of control, illusions of importance, illusions of certainty, because illusions create fragile confidence. But truth creates unshakable strength, and truth is often discovered in uncomfortable moments. Moments when things don't go your way. Moments when you must admit you don't have all the answers. Moments when you must depend on something greater than yourself. Dependence on God is not weakness. It is alignment. Alignment between your effort and divine guidance. Without that alignment, people run fast in the wrong direction. But when ego softens, guidance becomes clearer. You start listening more, observing more, learning more. You become teachable, and teachable people grow faster than talented people, because talent can create pride. But humility creates wisdom, and wisdom sustains success. The world celebrates confidence, but heaven celebrates humility, because humility makes room for transformation. Right now, if you feel like life has humbled you, maybe that is the point. Maybe you are being shaped into someone stronger, someone calmer, someone wiser, someone less dependent on applause. Because the next level of your life requires a different mindset. A mindset rooted in service. A mindset rooted in patience. A mindset rooted in purpose. And those mindsets grow best after ego breaks. So if your pride has been challenged, if your confidence has been shaken, if life forced you to look inward, do not see it as defeat. See it as refinement. You are not losing yourself. You are discovering your real self, the self that does not need validation, the self that moves with quiet strength, the self that understands that greatness is not about being seen. It is about being aligned, and alignment always begins with humility. From breaking to breakthrough, there comes a moment when the breaking finally makes sense. not at the beginning, not in the middle, but at the end of the storm, when you look back and realize everything that broke was never meant to stay. The relationship that ended, the plan that collapsed, the opportunity that slipped away, the identity you once held so tightly. At the time, it felt like loss, but now you see it differently. It wasn't loss, it was release, because sometimes God must remove what you are holding so He can give you what you are meant to carry. You were asking for elevation, but elevation requires space, and space can only be created when old things fall away. That's the hidden purpose of the breaking season. It clears the ground. Think about a farmer preparing a field. Before planting new seeds, the ground must be broken first. Hard soil cannot receive growth. It must be softened, opened, prepared. Your heart has been prepared in the same way. The struggles softened you. The silence matured you. The disappointment humbled you. And humility creates fertile ground for blessings. Now something powerful happens. Breakthrough. Breakthrough is not just opportunity. It is alignment. Alignment between who you have become and what you are meant to receive. Because the old version of you was not ready for what is coming. But the new version of you is. The version shaped by patience. The version strengthened by faith. The version refined through struggle. That version can carry the blessing. And when the blessing finally arrives, you won't panic. You won't chase approval. You won't lose balance. You will stand steady, because the breaking built your foundation. Many people want breakthrough without breaking, but without breaking, breakthrough becomes dangerous, because success reveals character. If character is weak, success magnifies the weakness. But if character is strong, success multiplies impact. That is why your breaking season was necessary. It built the character your future requires. Right now, you may still be waiting, still wondering when your breakthrough will arrive. But remember this truth: seeds grow underground, long before they appear above the surface. Just because you cannot see movement does not mean nothing is happening. Growth is invisible before it becomes visible. Your life is no different. Everything you endured was building unseen strength, strength that will soon produce visible results. So don't lose faith in the middle of the process. The same pressure that almost broke you is the pressure that prepared you, and preparation always precedes promotion. The storm is not permanent. The breaking is not permanent, but the strength you gained will last forever. So stand up again, breathe again, believe again, because what felt like the end was actually the beginning of clarity, the beginning of strength, the beginning of purpose, and the beginning of breakthrough. Music fades into powerful close. If this message spoke to your heart, type this in the comments: "My breakthrough is coming." Let that be your declaration of faith. And subscribe to this channel so you never miss the messages that strengthen your spirit and remind you of your purpose. Because your story is not over yet. The breaking was only the beginning. The breakthrough is on its way.